Yeah, and that's it. We're live. I'm going to have to wait for the chat to tell me how the sound quality is like, and then I'm
Yeah.
going to notice that everyone that walks in, who's the girl? Who you talking to? Who you talking to? V like who?
Hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Hold on. Let me mute myself and let me know.
No, that they already heard you. Like you're live. I'll give you a link. Here we go. There you go. Alright. Gonna talk a little bit about the deals. Gonna talk a little bit about California. I like pissing off Canadians when they give me super chats and they give you like $10 CA, and I say, oh, I got 10 Californian dollars. That's kind of cool. God damn it. I look like a creationist. You need to unmute yourself, woman, because no one can hear you now. Yeah, there was like this creationist. Forgot his name. Damn it. He also had like the same headphones like I do. Were massive.
Sorry, V. Sorry, I'm back. Sorry.
Alright. So, chat, tell me if you can hear the lovely Californian lady from the other end of the spectrum.
V, do you know my name, V?
Yes.
Typical dude. Typical dude.
How is it pronounced? Is it like Bon or Boone?
It's Boone.
Boone. Okay. The thing is, like, I'm still going to get asked, like, 50 minutes into this. It's like, who are you talking to, V? Who's this? Who's this?
Do you normally do like live streams? Like it's like a constant thing. Usually when you do streams, you play games, no?
No, I do live streams as well. It's just that I usually delete them. Like, the thing is, YouTube's terms of service is so broken right now that anything edgy can be flagged. But usually in my live streams, I also post a lot of copyrighted content. So I don't want to get claimed. And it's like, oh, okay, fine. I'll just delete it, take it down, whatever.
Well, I'll try not to cuss because
You can curse.
you guys would hear.
You can curse. I don't mind.
You can hear my sense of humor and V, how we're both pretty out there with each other.
Yeah,
Not like that, but you know what I mean.
I mean, just don't use gamer words. But other than that, I think fuck is commercially safe now.
Did you say gamer word?
Yeah, gamer words. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. I don't normally game anymore because all the young gamers nowadays, like 13-year-olds calling you the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's the N-word. I remember Don Lemon on CNN like actually showing the N-word written in front of him, and I'm like, dude, you're a black man. You get the pass. Like, you can't say it. Like, Jesus.
Right?
You have abilities some white people would consider unnatural.
Did you say abilities?
Oh yeah, I can't say the N-word. Like, if I say it, I get yeeted. But like, there are rappers that can say it nonstop, and that's fine.
I think it was like, you remember that rapper? He had the young girl come on the stage and there was a lyrics and the N-word popped up and she said it. And then he booed her. And you look, we're not telling you to go and start saying it all over the place, but in the gamer universe, you hear that a lot. Well, with as like female, when you play video games, it's a little bit different. But you're in the male domain, right?
The male domain.
The male matrix, and like when guys game, they're more aggressive. You know what I mean? And that's pretty common, right? I mean, that's what dudes do. So when like,
because you need to win, but the teammates are dragging you back.
You remember that? What's that girl's name? The fucking feminist. What's her name? The one.
Anita Sarkeesian.
Yeah, she never. I think she said that she never played games. Like she never. I don't even know why she's even talking about games in the first place. But like with chicks like big old boobies and big old booties. That's fantasy, man. You know what I mean? It doesn't really like. I feel like with chicks like that when they go like to play video games, they don't understand the concept of just imagination.
Oh no, she understands it. No. Like she's part of the ideology that believes. And in a way, she's right. Like, for example, if you were to get Christians into every institution imaginable, the country will become more Christian, even if you don't control the government. But it's the same way, like, if you get Marxists in every institution imaginable, then the country will move more towards Marxism, because any
Hmm.
other idea would be suppressed. And that's what Anita Sarkeesian was doing. Like, she was part of the subversion of video games and entertainment.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you notice that they get really vivid when Japan, for example, which hasn't been subverted, has an anime where an evil character is a woman that uses her looks and innocence in order to gain everything she wants and does false rape accusations, and she gets away with it and whatnot. And they're livid because this gets people to think. It makes people think. It's like, well, hold on a little bit.
Hmm.
What if, like I probably know a couple of women like that in my life. Like this narrative that all women are oppressed.
Right.
There's some cracks in it, and that's what
Hmm.
they don't want. They don't want people to think that there are alternatives. They don't want people to think in shades of gray. They just want people to think in black and white.
Right. I don't know, like with the whole. Can you like tell me a little bit about the Gamergate? I don't get it. Like I should. I didn't really pay attention. I know it happened around what 2007? Was it
Mm-hmm.
2007?
Yeah.
So what happened though? Like I felt like during like 2006, 7, 8. Like all this whole game.
Oh,
I
like
watched.
I'll can tell you
Yeah.
right. So, um, I suppose it's kind of weird if you read Wikipedia. It says it's like gamers wanted to kick women out of the industry, and it doesn't make any sense. I mean,
Hmm.
if you like, I don't know, football, and you find a man that also likes football, like that's something that gets you together. Like that's something that has the potential of creating a relationship that doesn't spark animosity. It's like, oh my god, you like the thing I like, and you're the opposite sex. Like it doesn't
Right.
make any sense. No, like what really happened was that there was this feminist which said that if you cheat on your spouse, it's like rape
Mm.
because they wouldn't give consent had they know you cheated. So like you fake consent out of them. And then it turns
Yeah.
out that she cheated on her boyfriend, I think it was like 5 times. Like it was a sex scandal basically, and everyone got interested in it because of what she said previously.
Hmm.
So she goes around and starts censoring. Like she uses her connections in the media and the gaming press and forum moderators on 4chan or Reddit. And back then, like censorship was pretty much non-existent over the internet.
Right.
And she starts censoring the conversation, and that's when it blows up because of the Streisand effect. And then
Hmm.
video game journalists start attacking gamers, and gamers were already pissed off at video game journalists for being corrupt and crony. So what
Right.
ends up happening is that the gamers attack the journalists, and then the journalist responds with slanderous accusations, and that's pretty much the whole Gamergate. Like it was a
Yeah.
consumer revolt against cronyism, against game journalists, and the politics that they were pushing, which had nothing to do with gaming, and their disdain for video gamers. And these game journalists, all of them in California, by the way, like.
Why the fuck you blaming me to be? He's like, just letting you guys know that everybody in California is just like that. So V, to get
Mm,
you guys a little bit information to your audience as well. I live in Central, so I
mm,
live right in the middle of the farm, kind of like the farming town and stuff like that. We're all, so I'm in Central California. So everybody like Twatter and stuff like that. They're more up north in San Francisco, and then down south is where LA. And a lot of people, when they get like the image of California, they think of
the Bay Area.
Twitter, and then the Bay Area. And then they think about LA, about Skid Row and stuff like that, which is kind of true. Um, California is pretty much destroyed, in my personal opinion, and I lived here all my life. And like, there's trash everywhere. I think V's gonna use the thumbnail. There's trash everywhere, dude, everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
And like,
I look at pictures from California and it looks far worse than Romania, and like, what the hell?
really? So
Yeah,
do in Romania, do you guys have like a lot of homeless population too, or is just like, do you guys
I
keep
mean,
it under
I
control?
don't know how to compare it. Uh, of course, there's homeless people here, but like, I don't know if there's a lot more. Like, I don't usually see them, but
Mm.
again, it depends on the places you're walking. Like, maybe I'm not walking where the most amount of homeless people are.
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, every country has homelessness, but they're not such a problem that I would say, there's homeless people on every street or whatever.
Mhm.
I saw
Here,
like
yeah.
places with tents and stuff, like completely filled by homeless people. I mean, yeah, we
Mhm.
don't have that here.
Really? Wow, that's pretty interesting. I mean, here in California, I didn't really see it when I was growing up. Now they're everywhere. I mean, like the other day, I just saw somebody doing Tai Chi on drugs. I don't even know what they were doing. It's like they're. You see a lot of these homeless people. They're becoming more aggressive. They are begging. You know, like they panhandle,
Hmm.
and it's normal. And here in California, you can't remove their tents or anything like that because that's removing personal property here in
Yeah, I
California, and you
heard that.
can't
Like
remove them.
there was this guy which had this big house with the gate with the fence,
Hmm.
and he was on Twitter showing how some homeless people got on his property, and they
Yeah.
installed a tent, and they were playing loud music during the night, so he couldn't sleep. And he calls the cops and asks the cops to remove the homeless people, and the cops wouldn't do it. So he's like, "Well, okay, I'm going to burn their tent then." It's like, no, you can't because that's their property.
Right.
So
They're
it's
yeah.
it's really weird. I mean, yeah, I mean, of course, if you have a group of people that aren't going to get policed, and eventually they're just going to think they're above the law, and they're going to do stuff which makes them look more aggressive. I mean,
Hmm.
that makes sense. I mean, any like if you take like blue-eyed people,
Hmm.
and you don't apply the law to them, eventually you're going to see mafias filled with blue-eyed people and whatnot because
Right.
you're going to start with something small like riding the bus without paying ticket, not paying your taxes or whatever, and then it's going to escalate because you notice like, okay, well, the law doesn't apply to me, and you're just
Hmm.
going to try to push it more and more.
It's so so we live near the not I don't live near the border, but we have so I feel like we with the mainstream media, the
Hmm.
corporation, just like you said, they're gaslighting the world about California. Everything is fine. And when I say this, California is absolutely beautiful. We have the best beaches and stuff like that. But now you can't even go to the beach without seeing a homeless person injecting themselves with heroin. You know what I mean? You can't even do anything like that anymore. It's so so I live right smack in the middle of all the fires that's going on, and when you say something like for example when I was talking to my other Californian friends, and I said, hey, with the whole fire that's going on, it's pretty much due to shitty liberal policies. And so then after when you speak up, especially here in California, you are right wing after that.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like they don't want to accept responsibility
Mm.
for their actions. It's the same thing with New York too. It's pretty much a homeless population everywhere.
Mr. Angry says 9 out of 10 people that are homeless supports Biden.
What the fuck? Really?
I don't know.
Oh my god!
I don't know.
Tell him to link. I want to see that. To link
I don't know.
the
He gave a
that.
super chat. But like, I mean, if you're a homeless people person, yeah, I would probably support left wing. I mean, you actually gain something from welfare. Like, if you're homeless, yeah, fine. Which kind of
Right.
makes sense. Like, if you think about it, if the left is the party of the poor and the right is the party of the rich, then the left wants you to be poor, so you vote for them, and the right wants you to be rich to vote for them.
Oh my god. And like I said, it's just it's getting to the point where tents are everywhere. I mean, down the street from me, we have a lady who sells coffee, quote unquote. I don't even know what it is. And she every day in the morning, like I go to like the supermarket and she's like, "You want to buy coffee? You want to buy coffee?" It's like I don't even know what's in your coffee, lady. And it's like even Ben Shapiro, he made a very good video talking about liberal policies. He grew up in California too.
Mm-hmm.
I landed here, in the 80s. I seen it's like it's to the point where the homeless population is growing so much that we're using our tax money to pay for like potty centers for them
Jesus.
to use the restroom stuff, which is I totally understand, but at the same time, this is an issue
Yeah,
that
I
we
mean
need to address.
the worst thing is like there might not be a solution for this. It's like how do you reintegrate a person into society that's been homeless and they've been
Hmm.
sticking a needle in their arm for the past 10 years? I mean
Hmm.
that's very difficult. And like it's kind of funny because you have all these corporations that are having outreach programs and they would hire foreigners nonstop when they have homeless people living right next to them.
Right.
It's
The fucked up thing is, V, all these social justice and stuff, like all these celebrities and these Hollywood people, they live here in California. What are they doing? They're doing absolutely nothing. for us? Nothing. And majority of these people that are homeless, they're like, we have to feel sorry for them. And just like you said, I totally get it. I go, but these people are actually starting to attack people. I mean, not too long ago, we had somebody in downtown Fresno. He literally attacked like people walking, out and about with a knife. Not too long ago, I saw somebody with a samurai sword just like swinging around. And it's okay, it's all right, go for it. And we don't even have so that like this whole movement of defund the police. Every time you call the cops on the homeless people, they tell us the same thing. They told me once before, there's nothing they can do about it because it's removing their property. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
their home.
No, from what I understand, I spoke with a Republican representative from California, and he said the reason the cops don't do anything is because they got sued by the homeless a couple of times.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Where did it get the money to sue these
No,
people?
like leftist,
Uh
leftist lawyers did it pro bono,
uh
and the city council decided, well, okay, we're not going to do anything. Um, but like to me, it's really where this left leaning ideology is going. Like I view what they're doing to California, they want to do anywhere else. Um, you have the middle class completely destroyed. You
mhm.
got capitalist flight. Like people are moving out, rich people are moving out, and
Mhm.
you only have the elites, the homeless people, and the immigrants that are working for the corporations, the corporate slaves, the wage cage, and
Right.
that's it. Like that's the future that they want. That's the utopian, progressive, no policing, high crime rate area that they want to create.
And
And they
everything is
distract.
fine.
Yeah, like identity politics is just distracting people from the real issues. It's like, hey, look over here. Don't look at the actual economic damage. Don't look at the actual class warfare we're doing. Look over here. Look over here. Oh, white bad. Oh. you know. Um, it's kind of sad when you think about it.
Yep. And like every time I say something, I get like shut down. And you know, c- V and I talk about this on Saturday, where on my podcast, and where we like I'm what they call a POC, a person of color.
Pok. Like
What
they have
a
so much respect that they can't even say like personal. It's Pok.
I-
It's like a
they poke.
Pokemon or something. Yeah.
It was like, yeah, we're gonna catch this Asian
I
person with
find
like a
it so
Pokemon.
like I know so many people of color that find the designation to be offensive because
It is
you're like, yeah, it's pretty much like non-white. That's what it means.
right.
Like name me a person of color that like what? Sorry, name me something else that's neither person of color or white. Like what is the third category?
I don't know, a gray person.
Yeah, exactly. Like there is no
Yeah.
like there is no other classification, which means like you're just saying non-white, which is ridiculous. I mean, just call the person, Asian or black or
Yeah.
whatever, But like the idea of person of color is like this just everyone else throughout the entire world. This is just weird, and they
It
all
doesn't
have
make any
something
sense.
together. Yeah, like they all are connected.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, like if you came to the United States of America,
Mm-hmm.
you're like white. Like you're automatically white. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody with like skin tone is white, but you have to think about it. Even Cubans have white skins. Even
Iranians.
people, yeah, Iranian, Armenian, Persian, Middle
Yeah.
Eastern people, they have white skin tone. So this is where we talk about Robin DiAngelo. It's
Oh my god.
like they live in this like made up world. Like every time they see somebody like me. So the moment that you say to somebody that's an SJW here in the
Mm-hmm.
United States, the moment that you think about poverty, they think of people that look like me. And if you guys can't see me, and you guys see V, I'm Cambodian,
She's the
little
waifu,
small
yeah.
Asian. What's a waifu? I hear that a lot before we continue the show.
It's
What's
a
a
hot
waifu?
anime girl you'd like to marry. Samurai Squirrel says, "Did you see Stefan M's documentary on California? Yeah. In the
Uh,
first or second episode, he goes into a city council meeting asking questions. They tell him he's out of order and to get out. Yeah, I mean, I see progressives doing that all the time. Like in Germany, for example, they had politicians being escorted out for accusing the left of rioting. And
What?
yeah, he was escorted out. Like they forcefully removed him. They will usually cite some, internal policy shit that they don't apply to anyone else, unless
Mm-hmm.
you're asking like difficult questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as for Robin DiAngelo, like, look, she admits she's a racist in her book. Like, literally in the
Mm-hmm.
opening, she's like, "Oh, I grew up in a white supremacist culture, and I'm a racist." And it's like, okay, why isn't she cancel culture then? Like, she
Everybody's gonna
confessed,
find her
she
book.
admits, like, literally, there are other people that deny it, and they get fired. But like, she admits, and she's like, best-selling book, really? Is this how it?
It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense to me because okay, like if I say something,
Mm-hmm.
like like I have my points too. You know what I mean? I'm a little, I guess, waifu. That's what you gotta call it. I'm a little Asian person. I grew up in poverty, welfare, and stuff like that. But I don't feel like oppressed or anything like that because in my world and how I live. You got to take like fucking responsibility for your life,
Mm-hmm.
right? No matter if you're a chick,
Oh, they
like
actually call that white supremacy now, like taking responsibility and shit.
oh my god, before we
Mm-hmm.
go, did you guys see Talcum X or Sean King accuse Tim Pool of being a white supremacist and a
No, I
neo-Nazi?
didn't, but like, I'm not surprised.
And see, okay, if you would have accused Tim of being like a North Korean, I get it. Okay, but like a Nazi, that's I get the same thing too. Like I don't feel oppressed. I don't feel any of that because, like I said, I take responsibility for my actions and for my life. I really don't. I never really pay attention to that stuff. You know what I mean? Like when I was gaming too, I'm not the gamer girl or anything like that. I play Call of Duty just like everybody else. I play my
Mm-hmm.
favorite game in the world is Tekken, but I get cussed at all the time. I get called like
Yeah, but
names.
everyone does, yeah.
Yeah, and so but I never got offended by it because of the fact that you just if you want equality, if you want to like step in a man's domain, that's how they treat each other. Am I?
I
Like
don't I
they
don't view
talk
it
shit to each
as a
other.
man's
Yeah,
domain necessarily. Like, here's the thing,
yeah, that's true.
gaming,
Yeah.
yeah, like gaming used to be this thing that got people together. You were anonymous behind the keyboard, like no one knew who you were or anything like that. Like, I remember growing up, I grew up in a very diverse neighborhood, and
Hmm.
the friend that I had was of Roma ethnicity, so he was a gypsy, and his parents didn't want him to play with me. There was big hostilities and ethnical frictions. But we had this
Hmm.
arcade bar where you would go and you'd play at the slots machine where you put the coin and you play Street Fighter or whatever.
Yeah.
And everyone went there, regardless of the ethnicity, and they played together and they were friends and the parents were livid. But like, that's what I'm trying to say, is that gaming actually brought people together, and
Hmm.
people from California, game journalists, they found that to be unacceptable. They tried separating gamers based on faction. It's like, oh, let's make the gamer convention and the gamer girl and this and that. And,
The
uh, eh,
gamer girl.
yeah. They actually have that, and it's like, okay, well, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you wanted
Yeah.
equality. Everyone is equal behind the pseudonym. Back then
Hmm.
voice chat wasn't even that popular.
Right.
Uh, and not to mention, it's like there was nothing stopping women. Like, if you're actually claiming that the only reason women weren't playing is because they were oppressed by the guys, which is ridiculous,
Right.
what would stop women from creating their own server and just
Hmm.
inviting other girls? Well, what
Right.
would stop, like, women creating a server and having rules? It's like, do not trash talk, do not, have banter, just whatever you want. Like, you could do that back then, because back then, again, like, company servers weren't the thing. You would start your own
Hmm.
Call of Duty private server, and you would have a bot, and you could put whatever regulations you wanted.
Hmm.
Who are you talking to? Asked me Def Networks. A podcaster from California.
Yeah. Hmm. A podcaster from California,
Yeah.
shitty California,
Well,
shitty
literally
California.
now. Yeah, literally.
Literally shit everywhere in California. But
Um,
with
yeah.
gaming, like now when okay, so I tried watching Feminist Frequency. I think that's Anita Sarkeesian.
You
I
tried
tried
watching.
watching it.
Tried
I
watching.
tried. I
Tried.
tried, but I couldn't. I couldn't. Dude, I couldn't because like everything is a problem. Everything. What did James Lindsay said it perfectly? Everything is problematized. Everything is a fucking problem.
Yeah, it's
Do you
critical
remember?
theory.
Do you remember the old Nintendo game? Do you remember the Double Dragons?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
where
you remember when the beginning where she get punched in the stomach?
Mm-hmm.
The in the so one of my friends who I used to old friend got into like that social justice shit. Like he got into like ever since he went to like New York University, came out
Yeah.
a completely different person. And that's a video game that we used to play growing up. You know, we used to see
Mm-hmm.
violence and stuff like that. And so we were playing it online together. And she got punched in the stomach. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, with Double Dragon 2, by the way, on
Yeah,
the
I
original.
think
And
people
yeah,
know. Like, yeah, it's a
yeah.
classic.
And he was like, "This is the violence that it's normal in video game industry against women." And I'm like, "You used to play Grand Theft Auto, dude."
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't.
here's the problem, right? Like, they create a narrative, which I guess the communists would call the heroine of the idiots. So,
Yeah.
so a very simple narrative, black and white, that even a person with 5 IQ can get behind, and it helps people because they want to understand the world. The people don't like having gaps. They don't like having things that they can claim. Well, I don't know why this is the way it is. So it gives people a very easy explanation. So, for example, if you have a game like Double Dragon, where a woman gets punched by a guy, then the
Mhm.
explanation is that this is because of the heteronormative, patriarchal, cisgender culture that we live in, and this is the outlet that the culture expresses sexism to, right? And that's
Right.
that. Like that, they already thought, okay, well, we understand it, we explained it, they put it in a box, and they don't think about it. When in
Mhm.
reality, the real reason, like if they were to ask a developer, they would tell them, well, back when the game came out, we used cartridges that had very limited space.
Mhm.
And telling a story would require a cutscene that was very few seconds, like 5, maybe 10 seconds. Because anything
Mhm.
more than that would mean we take away from the actual game. So, just showing, all right, well, this is the girlfriend, she's getting kidnapped, go rescue her, is a trope
Right.
that is very relatable and gives the character, the player, the reason to actually play the game, right? It gets him to
Right.
understand the characters, just 5 seconds, wham, bam. They couldn't go into complex storytelling back in the day.
Mhm.
But they will never ask these questions, right? Because they already get
Right.
their answers. It's clear because, sexism or whatever.
Right. Right. And majority of the game back in the day, there's so I play a lot of like old school games. So like I don't know, you remember Bubble Bobble? It's a little dinosaur game where he shoots bubbles. So,
And you
so
shoot bubbles, and the bubbles just split in two. And
yes.
yeah, I
So
think I want to play that again. Like it was a really good game. Yeah.
so with Bubble Bobble, it's if you have little Gen Zs in your audience. So Bubble Bobble in the beginning, it was a dude,
Mm-hmm.
and so the chick got kidnapped, and then the somebody turned him into a dinosaur, and he had to go and save her. And the same thing with Mario. You remember with Princess Peach? You had to go save her from
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cooper, right? And
Yeah,
so
because it's a simple
now
story, right? That
it's simple.
yeah.
It's simple. Nowadays, you can't do that. Nowadays you have to like the women like it's women power. And
Mm-hmm.
how dare you save us? So you're saying that we can't rescue ourselves from the
Oh,
dinosaurs?
there's actually this game that they made. It wasn't recent; it was years ago. But like again, the chick gets kidnapped, and as a Easter egg, you can actually just turn back and choose not to save her, and he gets into his car and goes like plenty of fish in the sea and just drives off.
That's what it is. It's like you can't even game anymore, man. You can't do that. And it's so like like you remember okay, so Mortal Kombat, it's another good example.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Jade, we have Katana, we have Melina. Melina's the monster that eats people, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much what she does. So like nowadays, like I don't know what's wrong with the Nidia Sarkeesian or all these fucking feminists. We had strong female characters as well. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
they consider them to be titillation.
like you can't even like look at like I said when I tried looking at watching feminist frequency, like everything was a problem. I'm like, oh my goodness, Jade is half naked with underwears and a thong,
Yeah,
and
I mean, okay, well, I don't think Anita Sarkeesian is a problem anymore because all these corporations have gotten co-opted, and now they have like
that's
the
true.
diversity officers or whatnot. So they don't need Anita Sarkeesian, which is why she was discarded, and she can barely get like 2 or 3 thousand people to watch her podcasts anymore.
Yeah.
But the main problem is that they completely destroyed female characters. Like, if you want to make an interesting character and not be attacked by the woke mob, you have to make it a guy, because a guy can have flaws. If you give a
Right.
woman flaws, it's because you're sexist. So now the women are unrelatable characters because they barely face any hardship. The only way they know how to make a strong woman is by making her suffer from toxic masculinity, making her hyper aggressive, hyper angry. Like the idea of a mother, like taking her children through a war zone is not something that they would consider strong.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Tomb Raider. The first Tomb Raider is showing Lara to be scared, to be very emotionally distressed about what's happening around her, and it makes you care about the character.
Hmm.
But in that game, she almost gets raped, and that was the
Right.
controversy. That is when the feminists attacked the game. And from that point forward, like in all the other games, they're really boring because Lara is just this confident machine that doesn't show any remorse, doesn't show any sign of emotion, never falls in love, and it's like, okay, well, that's not really a human being, Like
Right.
I can't empathize with that. There's
Hmm.
nothing there. Like there's no journey. There's no improvement. It's just like this artificial created robot that you put a female skin on it and call it a woman.
Right. Like I said, they live in this very closed world. See, but the thing is with like when you compare Japanese games
Yeah.
to the American games, it's a little bit different. With
Mm-hmm.
Japanese, I feel like, well, I don't watch a lot of anime. Well, actually, I don't watch anime at all, to be
I'm
honest
going
with
to
you.
show you
Sorry.
something after this. Yeah.
So,
I need to
like,
educate you. Yeah.
he's gonna educate me on anime because I don't watch anime. But like, you remember when? Okay, so I did watch Dragon Ball Z, just like everybody else. I know that's cliche, but like with Dragon Ball Z, we relate it to, Boma. I think that's what's her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
We relate it to the female characters. We relate it to the androids and stuff like that because that's that's what you do. You give flaws to human beings, and unfortunately women have flaws too. I don't know why they have issues with that. Like I know there was a new game, I think The Last of Us, where the character of the female was very muscular. Was she like oh my god, we shouldn't talk about this. It's like, was she a transgender character?
Which one? Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
Last of Us.
No, no, no.
Abby.
The thing is, no. Like they created this monstrosity, and they pretend like it's normal. But like when you look at the actress that plays Abby, she looks absolutely nothing like the representation that they created.
Hmm.
Which is why people are joking. It's like, well, like this is a man that's transitioning because it looks as if it's got a man body. Like women do not develop muscles that way. Like you look at MMA
Right.
women like Ronda Rousey and other strong women, they do not develop like those biceps, those bulgy
Hmm.
biceps that Abby has.
Hmm.
And they do not behave like Abby either.
Was she
Um,
like, I didn't play the game. I don't know the story. Was she like a character that just got added to it, or?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's I don't know how exactly to describe it, but she would be like the Californian version of what they consider to be a strong woman. Like just a woman
Yeah.
that's as masculine as possible, that beats the shit out of you for looking at her the wrong way. Um, like,
She brings in her groceries with one round run.
oh yeah, like she brings like 30 bags in just one hand, and the other hand is where she holds the keys. It's
This is where she holds the balls of men.
Oh no, but like the thing is, like, I think Ray from Star Wars is a better example,
Yeah.
or Admiral Gender Studies from Star Wars.
Hmm.
Here's the thing: like, they do not treat these as characters. The way they treat them is like role models.
Right.
Like social justice, the woke, they do not have a Bible, right? So for them, Star Wars is like the Gospel of Luke or something like that. And
Right.
and they want you to look at characters like Ray or characters like Admiral Gender Studies as your role model, like you'd look at Jesus. Like
Did you say Avril Gender Study?
yeah, you know who I'm talking
Yeah.
about, right?
Yeah.
The
No.
the 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 one with the purple hair that bullies the pilot.
Is this Star Wars?
Yes,
Okay.
and
Okay.
this the
I'm
the,
glad.
the one with where they're on the ship for most of the movie and they're like being
Okay.
chased by. You seen
Yeah.
it? The Last Jedi?
No, I haven't seen Star Wars because I know that it turned SJW, and it's kind of like a turn off for me. So I
Admiral
never really
Holodomor. Oh my god.
everything. Oh my god, everything is it's ruined, dude. It's
Yeah, but
ruined. I
like
can't.
basically what they want is like little girls to watch this because that's what they're fetishizing. It's like, oh well, when X Files came out and it showed Scully as being an FBI agent, a lot of women wanted to become FBI agents. A lot of women wanted to become doctors because they saw in the TV show and I whatever, dude. I think correlation does not necessarily equal causation, but like that's what they're trying to do, right? So for them, a character isn't supposed to be a relatable human being. It's supposed to be an aspiration.
Right.
And during the movie, the character constantly talks down to her underlings. The underlings are punished for questioning her. It's revealed that she's always right. And you know, like what they want to do is like they want to show that mansplaining is bad or whatever. But what they're actually creating is like, no, respect authority, bitch. That's pretty much
Right.
what they're doing. It's like
You
just
know,
because she's in a position of authority, you're not allowed to question her.
right. Like the whole entire debate of between Biden and not
Mm-hmm.
Biden, I'm sorry, Mike Pence and Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I don't know, an actor, he said that Mike Pence interrupting Kamala Harris is a form of white supremacy oppression in our
Mm-hmm.
history.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the fuck does that even mean? I mean, look,
It
if
means he's
you want
retarded. That's what it means.
like oh, he said the R word. Ooh.
I never understand why retarded is bad, but you can say idiot, moron, cretin. Like the other words are fine, but like retarded is not. Like what?
He's gonna get his post-it turned down. But like the whole thing with mansplaining and stuff like that, I hear this all the time. I never heard that in my life. Like
Mm-hmm.
if somebody would interrupt me or like V interrupt me or something or interject or me and V debating or something like that, I would never use the term mansplaining. What does that even mean? Manspreading?
Oh,
I don't even know what that
it's
means either.
okay. Well, it's for the underlings, the ones that are pushing the ideology without understanding it, to have like a way of shutting down debate, of shutting
That's
down
true.
people that try to interject. So they will say something incredibly dumb and stupid, and the moment you try to correct them, they will say, "Oh, I'm not going to listen to you because mansplaining."
Right.
But the thing with Kabbalah is like I find it very interesting, you know, because talking requires no effort. Like you can't say
Right.
that men have an advantage over women when it comes to talking, because like making voice come out of your mouth is the most easy thing you can do.
Mhm.
So it's not that men have an inherent advantage over women when it comes to speaking over each other. That's the most retarded thing that I have ever heard in my entire life. And if Kamala Harris would be, and this is not what she claims, right? But it's what actors and the media claims. It's like, okay,
Right.
well, then she's not a good vice president because she's going to potentially, become the president, and she might have to talk with Putin. She might have to talk with other leaders of the world. And you're
Right.
telling me that her kryptonite is people talking over her? I mean,
Yeah.
do you want that to be the representative of your country? I mean, I don't think Angela Merkel has that problem. I don't think Theresa May had that problem. But like you're telling me that America is so fragile that the woman that they put forward, has the kryptonite of people talking over her. It's like put another woman then. Maybe Sarah
Yeah.
Palin or something that someone that doesn't have this problem of having people talking over them.
And it's this is where they preach equality. You
Mm.
hear that a lot
Mm-hmm.
among
Oh, they don't want
the
equality. They
feminists.
want equity.
They want how I see it is how they want kind of like power.
Yeah.
Like they think they use you remember in the beginning of I think yeah in the beginning you said that the Japanese they used like there's I think it was like a movie that you said where the female uses her innocence and her looks to get her way. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
yeah,
think that's
and
what
an anime. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, an anime. I see that. It's like kind of like a form of what you say, like toxic femininity in a way, because like you hear a lot of these like chicks that will accuse a male of wrongdoing,
Mm-hmm.
and they get away with it.
Oh,
Man, like
the
I
left
can't believe it.
acknowledges that. They call it like if you Google this, white women tears.
These are white
They
women tears.
Yeah, yeah, it's basically like they released a series of articles where It was when white women were crying that like they would call the police on a black person and then they were
Oh
crying
yeah.
to the cops or whatever. Uh, yeah, I don't think that's something that white women do. I think that's something that a lot of women do because they
Mhm.
realize that they can actually use their innocence and their looks in order to obtain things that they want. Like if I was a woman, I'd
Mhm.
probably do the same.
Yep.
It's just like an opportunity that's used to you. I mean, there's a lot of domestic abuse that's talked about in psychology where the person pretending to be the victim is actually the abuser.
Right.
Like for example, in a relationship, if the woman goes to the husband and starts crying and goes like, "Oh, you never take me out anymore. We never go to a vacation. You always do what you want. I think I'm having enough of this. Like I can't live with you anymore." And eventually, the husband goes like, "All right, fine. Let's go to a vacation," even though he doesn't have the money for it. It's like who's the
Mhm.
victim in this relationship? Like one person is manipulating the other. It's not now. I'm not. I'm not saying it's wrong to do it or whatnot, but like you can't look at this and say, yeah, the man is the abuser.
Mhm. You see this a lot in if you guys watch I think it was like the was it 60 Day Fiance? What is it
Mm,
on TLC? I forgot what it is. Where majority of it not majority of it, but like you see a lot of these young women using, American men for their, why is it that we can't call that out? Like if we do, if me and V did it, holy shit, the world's gonna fucking blow up. It's
Oh,
like
there's a lot of things that you can't call out. Like they will stereotype the most negative things in men and say that all men are like that, and they will ignore all of the negative things in women and just stereotype the positive and say all women are like that.
mhm,
Which is kind of disingenuous. I mean, they don't talk about the gold diggers. They don't talk
yeah,
about. And the thing is, like, if you're a woman and you have a son, and
mhm,
he gets in a relationship with the gold digger, that affects you as a woman as well. Like, no one
right,
wants that. Like, I don't think men and women are separate tribes. I think everything is interconnected.
mhm,
And for instance, like, if you have your son watching live streamers and titty
mhm.
cam girls and whatnot, and then he steals your credit card and purchase bits in order to give to the thoughts on Twitch. I
You
mean,
said the thought of Twitch.
yeah, like you as a woman, you get,
Yeah,
you don't like that. Like you don't like your son being taken for an emotional ride over some
right.
girls he's never going to meet, and he thinks
Some
that he's going to
e-girl.
have a chat with them. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is why I appreciate holotubers more. It's like, uh,
Oh yeah, you did post about that. You did post it on your This Week in Stupid not too long ago, and you did make a good point where you see a lot of this is just my observation. This is just my personal opinion.
mhm,
If V has female viewers, let me know.
I do.
I don't think I don't think it's fair. Like I know we have boobies. Can we say
Hmm.
titties?
Yeah,
Is that bad?
you can say tits, yes.
Okay, so females, we have our sets of bitches, right? We got our little titties. So you see that a lot on Twitch as well. Like, how is it that's fair? You know what I mean? Like we have an advantage, and that's our looks. And I'm not saying that all women have the same abilities or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But
Some men
I feel
consider to be unnatural.
you're right. So like with females, like the majority of the females, not majority of it. I'm not on Twitch. I
Mhm.
don't. I'm not in that world. You know what I mean? But when I see these e-girls, their fucking boobs are just out there. I'm like, look, by all means, if it's flawless, go braless. I don't care. But the thing is that you're kind of cheating in a way. Am I wrong about
No,
that?
no,
Like you're
okay. Here's the problem. Twitch started off as a gaming platform, and it was hyper competitive at first. Like, if you wanted to make a name for yourself, you had to be some of the best people at gaming, or you had to have a very charismatic personality to keep people
right,
entertained. Then some girls realize that they can get a high amount of subscribers just by dressing provocatively and playing a video game. Now, I
right.
personally find nothing wrong with that. It's capitalism. I think a person that has a better accent than me or a deeper voice might get more subscribers, even if he talks about the same thing. Like, like I'm not about equality like the left is. No, I think like if a person is better and has something to bring to the table, whether it is to pair of titties, that's fine. The problem is that Twitch is saying that it's a family friendly platform and they want little
Ah,
Billy to watch it. And when you have girls that are painting their tits live and they call it art and they're not going to remove that, You know,
Is
like
that on there? They
yes,
have to.
yeah, like there is this
Whoa.
chick. I think her name is Zombie Unicorn. Like she went to a gaming convention and shamed some boof babes. It's like, oh my god, these companies are sexualizing women, and then she goes on Twitch and paints her tits because I genuinely think that she viewed those girls as her competition.
Ah,
Like in a perfect world, the only place where you would get to watch tits would be on Twitch on her channel.
right. Twitch
Uh,
and tits. See, there you
yeah,
go.
and there is a big problem with Twitch with a lot of teenagers that steal mommy credit card and buy bits, and Twitch doesn't want people to talk about it, because
Mm.
Jeremy, for example, started looking into it and he immediately got banned. It's a
We
problem,
talk
like it's
about
a scandal that they're trying to cover. It's way too profitable for them to stop now.
right. So you're talking about Jeremy the quartering, Jeremy?
Yes, yes, the
Okay.
quarter pounder, yeah.
And then so like you can't really you can't say anything. Like if I say anything, for example, I would get demolished by these radical
I
leftists. You know what I
mean,
mean?
it
Like I don't.
depends. It depends, like how big you are, right? Like if you're a nobody, you can say
I'm
whatever you
tiny.
want. Yeah,
I'm a tiny
yeah, you
podcaster.
can say whatever
So
the fuck you want then. But like if you were to get 100,000
yeah.
subscribers and then you talk about it, then it's a problem.
Yeah, but you have 100,000. Oh, you're talking about Twitch in general?
Yeah, if you're on Twitch and you get 100,000 subscribers, all right,
Is it
then it's a
hard?
problem.
I mean, I know it's very competitive. I know there's a lot of video game people trying to get sponsors and things like
Mm-hmm.
that too. You know what I mean, like even YouTube is starting to be kind of like that. I mean, I forgot her name, Tanya Managu. I don't know her name. She's an idiot,
I don't know.
and
I watch you holotubers like normal people. I don't
so,
know.
oh my god, you haven't even done that, huh? I don't know if you guys know who she is. She's a YouTuber, an influencer. I'm sorry, an influencer or something like that. And she posted on Instagram, and she said, if you guys send me a photo of your ballot that you vote for Biden, I'm gonna send you
Oh yeah, I
nudes.
remember that controversy. Yeah, apparently it's
Yeah,
illegal. Like you're not allowed to bribe people for votes, and
like
you're not
this
even
is
allowed
where
to take a picture of the ballot.
no, you don't, and like she got in trouble for that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's no responsibility whatsoever. So why is it that we hold men accountable, but not women
Oh no,
accountable?
I
You
think
know what I
that's
mean?
leftist privilege. Like I think even if a man were to do something like that, it's like you send me a picture of your ballot and I'll give you an autograph or some shit.
Yeah.
He would still get away with it. But if it was a right winger, I think
Oh,
he
that's
wouldn't
true.
have the privilege.
That's true. I mean, it's the whole. It's so. 2020 has been like
But like I'm really
ride.
curious. Like, is there a person out there who would not have voted for Biden, but now because there is the offer of getting nudes from this chick, he would go there, vote for Biden, photograph his ballot, and then like, and not to mention, like, if I was really a dick and I genuinely like wouldn't care about politics, I go there, I vote for Biden, right? I get the nude,
Mhm.
and then I put 3 or 4 other stamps to cancel the vote. Just fuck you. That's why.
That's what, and that's what you know. What it's just they're offering like this whole thing with Amy Schumer and stuff. These celebrities taking a picture of themselves nude for Biden. I
Amy
don't get
Schumer, really? Like,
yes,
are people
she
that
did.
want to see that?
Fucking Pillsbury Doughboy body. You know what I mean?
That's just I mean, no, like here's the thing, like this is what I believe about the world. Like women, they have a lot of power in society until they're like 20, 25. And by
Yeah.
power I mean like they're the middle of any type of circle of friends. People gravitate around them, people try to please them, and like invite them to parties and places where guys don't really get invited to unless they're very popular.
Mhm.
um, and after that, after like 2025, when the wrinkles start showing, when the
Mhm.
cellulitis becomes a thing, they start getting treated like a man. And I think
Right.
that's when they become in and believe it's like, oh, well, the world is a patriarchy or whatnot. Because
Right.
like privilege is invisible to those who have it. And when you're being treated equal, when you used to be treated privileged, you think you're being oppressed. Um,
Right.
and for men, it's like when you grow up, you're almost worthless. Like when you don't have your own house, you don't have your own car.
With men, you guys get treated the moment that you guys can come out. It's like,
Yeah, like you don't have your own house, you don't have your own car.
yeah.
You're going to have a very difficult time in life. But by the time you manage to gain into a stable job and you climb the corporate ladder a little bit and you make your own
Hmm.
income, oh, then you become like the center of attention, and then you actually gain a lot of potential relationships that you didn't used to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Like in regard to you, I don't know if you want to share to your
Yeah, go
audience.
on.
Like so when you were like when you started when you were younger, what did you like start to do like your job wise? Did you get like a lot of like bitches or did
No,
you
no, no. Like the thing
Yeah.
was when I was younger, I was very introverted. I played a lot of World of Warcraft. Didn't really go out that much. But I
Yeah.
did have like a lot of jobs. I worked at McDonald's. I worked at KFC. I worked at the hospital as that's when I decided to go into med school because I finished
Right.
law school. I couldn't find a job because it was the economy collapsing, and then I decided to work at a hospital doing as a statistician.
Hmm.
And that's when I was like, well, I kind of like this environment, so like let's try med school.
Yeah.
Um, but in Romania, it's like a little bit different, I guess.
Hmm.
I mean, it wasn't that hard to start dating, though. The women that I like, I noticed that they were out of my reach because they would date, guys that had their own place, that had their own car.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like I kind of understand like if I was a woman and I get like Tinder or whatever, and I
Hmm.
have like all these guys that I like, and I get to choose who I want. Like, why wouldn't I choose the one with a car and a stable job? Why wouldn't I choose the
Hmm.
one that?
I think it's like with chicks when I was dating, I prefer I think it was Tim Pool, he said that with women they date men well men date women that are like what did he say something about like they don't have to necessarily have a job or anything
Big
like that like
tits.
stay at
No,
home
that's
yeah
that's
yeah
big
and
tits.
then with women they never date below you know what I mean like they're
Yeah,
lying.
I think so. Yeah. I noticed this. Like usually, people that have stable marriages, the moment the man loses his job or starts
Hmm.
earning less than her, then there's family conflict. I don't know.
What?
I think when I spoke with my cousin, she managed to articulate the problem.
Hmm.
Um, she got in a relationship with the guy she loved a lot, but he didn't have a high school, right, and didn't have plans for the future. And she was now at the University of Architecture, and she was
Hmm.
saying that she's embarrassed going out with her friends, and like they would talk. It's like, hey, what's your boyfriend? Oh, well, my boyfriend is a manager at this company. What's your boyfriend? Oh, my boyfriend is a lawyer. And what's your boyfriend?
Hmm.
Oh, well, he doesn't have a high school.
Yeah.
And like that was embarrassing for her. And I think maybe like the embarrassment is part of it. I don't know. Like,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if a dude says, "Well, all these guys like, oh, my wife is this, my wife is that," and he was like, "My wife will have small boobs." It will be fucking sexism everywhere. Boom, sexism, sexism. I feel like it's so unfair, and a lot of people always say to me that I'm a male activist. I mean, like a you
I
know,
mean, yeah, I know, I know. Like, it's not that it would be sexism. Like here in my country, it wouldn't be considered that. But when a guy has a girlfriend, insulting his girlfriend is like insulting him. So
right.
if you were to tell a guy into his own face, it's like, hey, your girlfriend has small tits, you'd probably get punched. Like it would be social pressure on him to punch you if he wants to save face.
Yeah,
It's like he
yeah.
would be making fun of his own tits or something like that.
It's like
Um,
her tits is the size of his balls.
I don't know. Like it's no, it's not really like her tits are the size of his balls, but it's like you're insulting the honor of his girlfriend. That's what you're
Yeah.
doing.
I think with chicks, they're like, my man's supposed to protect me and take a bullet for me.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like
I
that's
mean, it is in a way. Like I'm not for equality. I do think gender stereotypes have a place, and
yeah.
they existed because they have been done through the art of negotiation for thousands of years until we got what we have. And if you look at different countries that
Hmm.
never really interacted that much with each other historically, the gender
Hmm.
difference between Japan and let's say Croatia isn't really that big.
Right.
I mean, it's the same
No,
expectations.
no, like with me. So I'm Cambodian. So how I see it, we're very farmers, like
Mm-hmm.
we are rice farmers, and the men and women work together, and the babies go and work, the rice fields just like everybody else. So that's how I grew up seeing relationship. I never saw like a separate, segregated kind of thing, because
Yeah,
I think men and women should work together, especially raising an offspring. You know what I mean, like
absolutely.
with the
Yeah.
babies.
I
And so
mean,
like
yeah. Go on.
what?
No, no, no. Go on.
So like with how I grew up with the Cambodian asset of our history is that women and men work together to um, to run the country. And so to me, with in America, it's I feel like it's like entitlement, not equality. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. No, no, no,
Like
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
like I want to go out, if my husband go to war, or I'm not saying now, but like just theoretically speaking, I would like to fight side by side with him. I would like to protect our home. I would like to protect our village just like everybody else. And um he doesn't have to necessarily do everything. I feel like um in American society, the females feel like they're entitled to everything. And we have raised the feminist movement have raised a bunch of narcissist entitled brats. That this is just my opinion that I see. And like when you say equality, you have to work with your spouse. You have to work with your boyfriend, and that's how I do it. I don't know how anybody else do it in
I
their
mean, yeah,
relationship.
like in an impoverished country like Romania, the idea that one person gets to stay home is unacceptable. I mean, I can understand it in medieval time where you had to wash the clothes by the river,
Mhm.
and
You gotta
vacuuming
you gotta
didn't
protect your
exist.
baby from the wolves.
Yeah, you got to protect the baby from like it was a full time job, right? But now you
Right.
got a fucking Roomba and a washing machine and a microwave. Like, what the fuck do you do home all day? Go work, go do something, put
There's
money
no
on the
excuse.
table. Yeah, there's absolutely no excuse, and it's
Yeah.
it's also interesting because that's how we managed to almost abolish the gender pay gap. Because there was this study that showed gender pay gap in different European countries, and then you look at Romania and it's at the bottom. And the reason is
Yeah.
that if a woman wants to do gender studies or journalism school, her father is going to start screaming and be like, no, you do that on your own money. You're going to become a doctor, so you stop being a social parasite in my household. Like, you need to get an actual job, get some
So
money,
like
move the fuck out, and take
so
care
like
of me when I'm old.
so like in Romania, is the culture is like similar to us Asians, because us Asians, we live with our family until we take care of our parents, and we
Yeah,
live with our
yeah.
parents. I don't live with my parents now, but I'm just saying like that's our culture, that's
Yeah,
our
like I
custom.
mean, same here. Like I am expected that when my parents are old and sick, that I will take care of them, and every time my
Mhm.
parents needed something, I rush to help them. It's
Yeah.
there is a question for you. What do you think about robots and artificial wombs as the solution to these problems? Anything is better than the status quo.
He's talking about sex robots.
Yeah, no, like I guess like raising people. Dude, that would be the worst thing, Samurai Squirrel, because then you'd have like corporations raising you from birth, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
or like a civil
Listen,
servant or some shit.
what about like, okay, so we have to ask that question: who's going to be the one programming those robots?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if it was like Elon Musk, okay.
It was like Elon Musk.
But like, what about it's that fucking creep, literally looking motherfucker, Mark Zuckerberg. See, we have to like, it's like we have to think about stuff like that too. Like with robots, that's a really interesting conversation to have. Like with AI, especially like right now, I have a topic that I'm going to be talking about on my podcast about sex robots and their replacement for you know they're talking about reproduction. Did you watch Rick and Morty?
Yeah,
Read
I had the unfortunate first two seasons. Yes,
so like
Californian cancer. Yeah. Oh look,
yeah.
they talk about Schrodinger cat. Oh, do you get it? Oh, they're so sciencey. Oh, they like the science. The science. Yeah.
so, so with you remember the episode when Morty kept fucking that robot, that female robot,
Mm-hmm.
and they produced
Yeah.
that's gonna be it's gonna be like the thing that I it's not so easy, of course this is going to be up to debate. This is just my temporary opinion on that matter. Like even with like sex robots and stuff like that, it's a way to for everybody to like release themselves at the fact that everybody's so busy. and then robots is going to be a part of our lives. Of eventually. I don't know if me and V is going to be alive to see that. I mean, we're in
Mm-hmm.
our 30s,
Well, we already
but
have 3D printers that you can have at home, so
really,
yeah.
fuck. Okay, so let's talk about the little thing that you're talking about. Like, so V has been introducing me slowly to his world of these what is it, the hologrammers
The
that you say?
hologrippers, yeah.
Yeah, so like these cute little, you know,
Anime girls,
character
yeah.
anime girls. They sing and they're adorable. So I get it. I get it. All right. But I think that's like a gateway to like the AI, the world. I'm not okay. Okay, it's coming out wrong. It's not. I totally understand why these things are getting introduced to society
I
because
don't think robots will replace actual human companionship.
you think so?
No.
You
I
don't think
don't.
so?
Yeah, no.
I hope not.
I don't think. Like, okay, unless they manage to simulate a robot like a Cylon or like a Terminator, where it's indistinguishable from an actual human. There
You
is
don't think
no.
humans can make robot babies? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, no, there is no replacement for an actual woman. Like
Yeah.
the idea of a relationship is always going to exist. Um, I mean, again, like if technology advances to the point where you can actually create, like in Westworld, where you literally can't tell the difference between the robot and an actual human, then yeah, sure.
Hmm.
But other than that, no, I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, as a woman, you get a dildo, right? Does that replace
Hmm.
the real thing?
It doesn't feel the same. That's a lot of information on a live stream, by the way.
But even if it would, like, let's assume that it feels 100% the same. It's still not, like
Well, because it's not. I mean, okay, so like all these uh dildos being sold, right?
mm-hmm,
There's dragon ones. There's
mm-hmm.
dragon ones. There's fist ones.
Fifth
There's
one.
double-sided ones.
So you can tell she's from California.
So, but like
The people
these,
from
these
Texas in the chat are bewildered and they don't understand.
they're like, oh my good, bless her heart. So like with this whole thing, it's not the same. Well, okay, but okay, let me put the question to you: will it feel the same for you if you had a pocket vagina?
No,
That I
no,
guess guys
absolutely
do.
not. Because at the end of the day, it's not just like I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm telling you this as a 34-year-old guy. Um, the little things matter. Even if you were to reproduce and have like the best sex ever you can with a robot, you still need that hand holding moment where you're just walking in the park or going on a vacation or
That's
um,
so sweet.
but it's true. It's absolutely true. Like there are moments where you want to just watch a Netflix with someone and cuddle. Like
Right,
I don't think a machine can replace that.
right.
And
And
even like
it's not.
yeah,
Yeah,
even the arguments and the scandals. Like again, with the machine you can just turn it off, but like it makes the relationship more interesting. You can't just have a relationship where everything is perfect. It's like that movie The Matrix, when they created The Matrix to perfect and people just rejected it.
Yeah, and just like the episode in Star Trek, you remember? Well, if you watch Star Trek, I watch Star Trek. I'm a Trekkie. In Next Generation, Data, he
Mm-hmm.
was programmed. He was in a relationship and he couldn't feel her. Like, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the sex was fucking awesome. Okay, with a robot. All right, you can program the size of the penis into any size you want, man. By all means. But like the relationship ended because it wasn't the same. He was a robot. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And so I know what you're saying with the whole entire thing with
Yeah,
the
and the
AI
thing
and
with
stuff.
feminism, like there was someone in the chat saying, "Oh, well, society wants women to be stronger." No, I think, okay, if you look at who promotes feminism, it's usually corporations, right? Like when I
Mhm.
look at an ideology, I'm looking at, okay, who is promoting it?
Right.
And yeah, it's different factions. Like if a foreign country would be promoting it, then it's like, okay, well, this ideology is meant to destabilize. Or if a corporation is promoting it, then the purpose is to make money.
Mhm.
So, how do corporations benefit from feminism? And the answer is that they want the perfect worker, which is a person that's married, but at the same time
Mhm.
divorced, so that he has to pay child support, so he needs to work hard and care about his job, not to get fired. But when he gets home, he doesn't have a nagging wife to go to. He
Mhm.
can work 11 or 12 hours crunching at the company so that, the wife isn't going. It's like, oh, well, you spend so much time at work. Why don't you spend more time with me? Why, blah, 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 blah.
Hmm.
he doesn't have a wife to tell him it's like, hey, look, this corporate bullshit that you're been teaching is not really great. It's like, no, he spends more time with his corporate buddies and he goes to corporate retreats where he gets indoctrinated into corporate culture. Like, that's the perfect working drone, and feminism is the best vector to create that. Third wave
Hmm.
feminism, where it teaches that men and women are into two different factions and they need to hate each other and blah blah blah, and they got competing interests, and like, this leads to divorce, this leads to arguments, this leads to men being unappealing for women. I seen this on forums various times where like a man who can't get a date, doesn't know what to do, and wants to improve himself, so he goes to feminists, and they tell him it's like, oh, you need to be a good feminist ally, and you need to never, like, always ask consent, even if it's the first kiss. Like, don't just read body language, don't just, like. So they turn into these very unappealing, unattractive men, and they don't understand why, and they get
Hmm.
very upset and angry, and they feel betrayed. But it's all about just keeping men and women separate, and turning them into really great corporate drones. Like, think about it this way, right? They believe that a woman like Penny from Big Bang Theory that earns a
Yep.
million dollars per episode, they believe that when she says that she likes cooking for her boyfriend, that's oppressive, right? So
Wow.
she's got internalized misogyny, and she's being oppressed. But a woman that sucks the clown cock at McDonald's, and she's like in the corporate chains, oh, that's liberating. That is just the way to go. So a woman who chooses to stay at home and raise the kids, that's oppressive. A woman who works 12 hours a day at an IT company, that's liberating. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, it's so obvious what you're doing.
Like you don't even know what they want anymore. And with me, when I was single and dating and stuff, like I never really, like I said, I never really pay attention to that. I just worked because my parents will whip my ass if I don't work and support. My I pay for my college education, I pay for all that stuff, but I never really looked down on anybody because that's, first of all, fucked up. You don't, that's rude.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always I enjoy being a mom. I enjoy being a wife, and all that stuff. I don't mind cooking and cleaning and stuff like that. It's just something that everybody, it's the 21st century. If you don't cook and clean in your own place, gross. Okay.
No,
Everybody should do it
I,
their
I
own way,
find
you
it
know what I
I
mean?
find it amusing when they say make me a sandwich is sexist. Like, making a sandwich is the easiest shit that you
It's
can do.
delicious.
Yeah, but not only that, like, you're doing it out of love, right? Like, you love someone, so you make
V,
them a.
V, do you want a Vietnamese sandwich? V, it's delicious. It's like, it's delicious. Like, I always like, like when chicks, like I said, when I game and stuff like
Mhm.
that, I always get, because my gamer tag is Madam Boone, so that's 559, right?
Yeah.
And so when I game, a lot of people's like, "Go make me a fucking sandwich," and I go, "I'm hungry right now. I'm gonna make myself a sandwich." I'm not offended because, duh, that's where the cake is. It's like the kitchen is where the resources is, and like I said, I don't get offended for it. It's the easiest shit to make a sandwich. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah,
It
I
doesn't
mean,
bother me. You
if
know what I
the
mean?
pivotal offense is to make someone a sandwich, then you're not really being oppressed. Like,
Food
if
is
that's.
delicious, man. I'm pretty sure like V makes his own food too. I mean,
No, no, no,
everybody
no.
should
My
learn how to
girlfriend
cook.
does. No, my girlfriend does.
Oh, that's sweet. It's like, does she cook like American food, or does she cook like
No,
some
she
bomb
she
ass
cooks
American
whatever.
thing?
Like, I trained her. Like, the way I trained her is like, look, if you're not making me food, I'm
You
going
said
out to the.
trainer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're not making me food, I order, and if I order, then I order unhealthy food that it's going to make us fat, and I also spend money. So, like, we need to gather money for the new household. So, like, what is your
Yeah.
choice? Like.
Yeah. I mean, like with cooking, you know what? It's like home cooked meals are like the best thing. You know what I mean? Like, I love the way my mom cook. I'm pretty sure, V, you love the way your mom cook. The audience, I hope, pretty sure you love the way your mom cook. It's just home cooked meals are like the best one, and
No,
like
I
just
agree.
like you said with the corporations, just like you said with McDonald's and stuff like that. It's really unhealthy. You know what I mean? And so, but like I said, they take to offense a lot of me. I don't care. I mean, you can say all your shit to me. I really don't care. But like the whole thing with with the kitchen thing is to like assault people, and who doesn't love cooking? You know what I mean? It's like the
No, I
most
love
relaxed.
cooking. It's just that I don't have time. Like I need to
You
work on
don't,
three
yeah.
YouTube channels now. And even when I'm not making a video, I'm still thinking about the next video. So like I need to make a lot of money in order to pay for the mortgage.
Right.
And I told her this. It's like if this is the way you want, then everything I make is going to go to the bank to pay the house, and the money you make is going to go to buy groceries and whatnot, and you're going to have to do the cooking, because your
Right.
job takes less hours to do than mine.
Right.
And she was fine with it, and I said, look, if you can't cook one day, we can order out or we can go out and eat. Like that's fine.
Hmm.
Um, but no, like she cooks that she likes it when I cook. She says I cook better, but like again, I just don't have the time to do it properly now.
Yeah, I mean, how many days, like, I mean, how many hours you work like a day doing the videos and stuff like that
Well,
in
I have
comparison?
to, like, when I wake up, I work for the video on my main channel, and the editing and all of that takes around 2 to 3 hours.
You
Uh,
haven't hired somebody yet? Like
no,
Jeremy
I
from the
know.
quartering.
Well, Jeremy from the quartering, when I will have how many subscribers he's got, like 400,000 subscribers, and I probably
No,
make 10,000 pounds a month, then
I
I'll
think he's like
hire someone.
I think he has like 900,000, right? And more. Somebody googly goo that, guys, in the chat and
I don't
see it.
know, but like he makes more than me. Like if I was to make as much as he does, then I'll hire an editor.
And he was like, I'll hire an editor and a personal fucking chef.
Yeah.
It's like somebody to make my own goddamn sandwich. And so with the whole thing with me, like I said, I grew up in a culture where both people provided, both people cooked, and you see in Cambodia a lot, the men and the women cook together. In today's society, I feel like with cooking, for some odd reason, they look at it like it's shame. For some odd reason, I'm like, bitch, you're eating. It's like you need to eat. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so like I I really don't understand that concept. And now, like I told V the other day about these Asian chicks eating on YouTube, getting millions of views, just eating.
Yeah.
Like these small, skinny, scrawny waifus. I think that's what you call them. They're eating. They're stuffing their
Yeah,
face with
there's a
like
lot of weird
chocolate.
thing coming out of Japan. I mean, I saw people doing their homework and making a lot of
What?
money. Yeah, like they were like literally you would think they talk about it or something. No, they just open their math book and they start doing their homework and they don't talk. They just do the homework. And the idea
What?
yeah, the idea is like if you like that, then you have your own homework, then you put that and you do it with him and it feels like a study group.
Oh, but what is the gender though? Is it a female?
There's men and women doing it.
Ah, okay. So it's
Yeah,
like
and the women
between.
have like these pink notebooks with like Hello Kitty on them. It's like really cute.
Like
Um,
you see a lot of I think in Japan. So in Japanese culture, the men and women both work. I think 7 hours is considered part time for them, whereas in the United States of America, it's more 7 hours or 8 hours, it's like full time. And like, there's a video that I watched for some fucking odd reason one day. It's just say 40-year-old woman and her daily life. That's it, and it's entertaining for some odd reasons. I totally understand why people will get into watching people doing homework. I fucking hate homework, but the thing is, it's just that
oh, yeah, but then there's people who sleep, also from Japan.
what
Yeah, like they go to sleep.
what
Yeah, they put
this
a
is
webcam
this
and they go to
ASMR.
sleep. Yeah, ASMR is different, but like, no, they just put on a webcam, they go to sleep, and they stream that, and people watch it. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe it feels like you're not alone and you're sleeping with someone in the room. I have no fucking idea.
Oh
But
well, Venus doing it. Come on,
yeah,
V, let's watch you sleep.
it's so weird, and all of these are coming from Japan. Like they're not really catching in America, I guess. But
I think with America, with Americans, we're pretty private. And
mm,
not in California. I just talked about dildos earlier, but like, but and I think it's like they want that privacy maybe, and in Japan is a little bit different because of their culture has more of. I've got what it is. Is everybody's more um single, maybe.
I don't know.
You
Like
know, like
yeah, I know what you're talking about. They even have a name for it. It's like they're just secluding themselves in their room for years. But like, imagine going to sleep and you wake up with $1,000 from donations. It's so weird.
$1,000 in donation. Shit, that's a lot of money.
Well, not
A
for
lot.
you, because how much do you spend for the state? It would be like 50% just to pay your taxes. So
Oh my god, we pay fucking taxes for everything, dude.
yeah.
Everything. And just like you said, in our podcast that we did together, you have to pay for, the homeless people and stuff to get their Medi-Cal and stuff. Even like even the homeless population, they start to have like their own refrigerators being put out, I start to
Mm-hmm.
see like these small little refrigerators being put out and libraries out in the open and stuff like that. And like you remember we talked about Chaz, that's the communist utopia right there. That's free books
How
and
many people died there?
and oh, in Chaz, how many, like it was like three, right?
I
Three?
think I think it was more like only three was with that car they shot.
No, they shot the two. Okay, so one of them was the two kids, and then one of them died, and I think I don't know. I
They
that's a low.
executed the kid at the wheel though. Like they went next to him, beat him up with the pistol, and then shot him. Um,
That's
and I
bad.
think yeah. Well, communists. What do you expect?
The radicals. That's pretty much what they do, and that's in Seattle. In California, you know what? In California is a little bit different. You see majority of Antifa and stuff in
Mm-hmm.
Berkeley,
Yeah.
San Francisco, um, pretty much up north, and that's it. I mean, down below, you see a lot of the Black Lives Matter, right in LA and all that good stuff. But California, I would say in about a couple months. I think after the election, everything's gonna come to shit. Um,
How
the
did they
tax,
elect Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like he's a Republican, right? How did
yeah, he was.
California elect him?
They liked him. Remember Ronald Reagan, the president? He was a
Mm-hmm.
governor of California too.
Yeah, but
He
that
was a
was a long
Republican.
time ago.
Yeah, and so I think it's because in California we have this facade of focusing on too much on like celebrities for opinions.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like like the like back in the days with the Greeks and the gods and stuff like that. That's how we view celebrities. Not me personally, but like in
Yeah.
general. And like okay, so the thing is, I think that's pretty common in human history. Like in when Pol Pot took over Cambodia and stuff like that. They recruited King Sihanouk, and so in Cambodian culture, we view the kings as gods. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So anything like when Pol Pot was committing genocide and stuff like that in Cambodia, we had to. Well, this is what my mom was telling me, and if you guys don't know, my family survived the Khmer genocide, the Cambodian genocide that happened in the 70s, and so they said that they play music, the Ankar, like the gods, like everything that you do it for the gods, like
Mm-hmm.
Ankar, right? And that was the original the Khmer Empire. That's what we follow. And I think that's similar to what's happening here in the United States of America with, the celebrities and stuff like that. We view them as the American society or the leftists view them as like a god, like they follow what they believe. That's why you see a lot of these celebrities with, you know, Amy Schumer being nude and all that good stuff. And I think that's pretty common. And I don't necessarily believe like the modern day leftists are like, uh, not even not like people call them like the Bolsheviks, Trotskyites, like Trotsky, like Leon Trotsky. But their tactics is similar to the Khmer Rouge. But the thing is that nobody knows it. It's because they're uneducated about the Khmer Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they
Yeah, I mean,
that's what's going on.
communism is a parasitic ideology that takes a lot of elements from his host. So if you had a very religious society, then even though Marx is supposed to be against religion, they're still going to maintain, like you said, considering the kings as gods and whatnot.
Yeah, even in Romania, you remember he didn't ban religion like you said. But
No,
in
no.
in
He
in
kept the
Cambodia
churches,
and
yeah.
yeah, he kept the churches and stuff. And like they in communism, I feel like they replace the idea of like God and stuff like that with
The
the
state,
the
the party.
yeah, the state. Yeah, yeah. And that's what pretty much what happened with under the Khmer Rouge. They removed everybody. The Cham Muslim, they got killed. The Christians got killed. The Catholics got killed. Pretty much the churches stuff got burned. Just like Maoist China, the same thing.
Mm.
I don't know. And now I believe in China they still do that, right? Where they well, I don't know if they put the Christians in, you know.
No, they're rewriting the Bible, but they're oppressing the Uyghur population. They had this DLC for the Bible where Jesus, like the part where he prevents a woman from getting stoned, and he says, "Let the one without a sin cast the first stone." Right.
Yeah.
Well, the DLC, the Chinese edition, is that after everyone disperses, Jesus stones the woman himself and says, like, "Of course, I am with sin." But if the
Hmm.
law was to only be enacted by people unblemished, then we wouldn't have laws.
Yeah. And what, oh my God, it's so like okay, so these people that the leftists that you see, like especially in Chaz, did you see the mayor that's running up against the mayor of Portland?
Fed
She has
Wheeler,
like
yeah,
Mao. She has Mao on
yeah,
her
yeah. I saw,
dress.
I saw.
And like I feel like they don't do you know who the fuck you're having on your dress? Am I tripping here?
No,
Like
she knows, she knows.
like these Maoists, they don't really understand it, and
Oh,
I feel like
they
they
do, but they justify it. They say it was necessary for progress to happen.
how come they justify, okay, so if the Proud Boys, and me and V talked about this before, if the Proud Boys commit acts of violence, oh shit, it's act of terrorism, but like the left, they get away with it. You mean, like, I don't understand the logic here.
Because they're on the
You
right
know what
side of history, you know. Like, no, seriously, like that's how they justify it. They say
you think
that,
that's what it is?
yeah, it's their side versus the enemy, and they're using centrist morality in order to beat the enemy. Like, notice how the left is not for free speech, right? Like they will flat
Yeah.
out tell you they're not for free speech until they get censored, and then it's like, oh, but where are the free speech activists defending me? Meh, meh, meh.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what it is. You know, like they're using the morality of the centrists, which is the majority of the population. I think the overwhelming amount of people, they aren't interested in politics. They want to go to work, make money, come home, take care of their family. They don't look at the television. They don't give a shit about that.
Mhm.
And they still have like a set of values, right?
Right.
So when you have like, oh look, this guy got censored or that guy got censored, they're like, oh, why is this happening? You know, and they're like
Mhm.
trying to weigh in, and that's what they're doing. It's they know that this is all about tribalistic thing. It's like our side versus your side, and
Mhm.
when the right is doing something, they will try to get the normies on their side by using common values, and when they do something, they will try to accuse it.
Do you know like how many, okay, so within so Ponche, for example, is where you ever heard the saying where he, communists and helicopter rides? I think that's what
Mm-hmm.
Ponche did.
Yeah,
Um,
Pinochet. Yeah.
yeah. So when you kind of look at the body count in comparison to the communists, the communists did a pretty damn good job at killing. That's what they're really good at. You know what I mean? And like when you look at the numbers in comparison, I'm not saying that Hitler was, you know, not
Yeah, like
bad.
you're saying, like communists killed more than World War II.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. So
we
like
like
what?
okay. Well, the thing is, we don't know how many people Germany would have killed if it won World War II. So like I
That's
get
true.
that,
Yeah.
but like people forget that like USSR and Nazi Germany were allies before the World War II. I mean,
Yeah.
there are events where the Soviets said, "Hey, if you're a Jewish person, come to Moscow. Like, we're going to give you sanctuary here. Like, we're going to protect you." And then they put all of the Jews from Russia on a train and shipped them back to Nazi Germany in order to gain sympathy points. You know, they
Oh
had,
shit.
yeah, they had joint parades. They had. I think you can go on YouTube and you can find Nazis and Soviets parading together in Poland after they conquered it.
Hmm.
Um, Even after Germany invaded Russia, you still had for a couple of weeks German generals with Russian generals still going out to dinner because they were friends and they couldn't believe what's happening. Like they thought it's a mistake. Um,
Right.
and that's pretty much the history that people try to omit. The fact that communist countries were buddy buddies with Nazi Germany, they had no problem with it. But yeah,
Yeah. With in comparison to like you see a lot of people get called Nazis. I got called a Nazi before, and I shouldn't. I get called like many names, but like the thing is that they don't they want to hide that, and just like you said, they want to hide that, and I feel like they're the same in a way. It's just that one was racist. You know what I mean? Like Jordan Peterson said it perfectly, where one was absolutely racist, but the hammer and sickle's the same thing. Is not is just as bloody as the Nazi. You know what I mean? Just like you said, I think V. If you guys listen to the podcast that he's gonna post, he said that the Americans need a taste. They need a taste of
Of communism, yeah.
communism. They need.
Churchill, hold on, because this is an interesting thing. Churchill gave Eastern Europe to Stalin. Stalin already had military in Eastern Europe. I mean, there was no way to take it away from him unless by force. And Churchill had Operation Unthinkable, which was to arm German soldiers and send them to fight against the communists.
Mhm.
But yeah, people in the United Kingdom stopped him because if he would have done that, they would be like, okay, what are T-48s and why are there a million of them? You know, like people didn't want World War III. But to tactical droid, to answer to you, um, Churchill actually wanted to go to war against the communists. Google
Mhm.
Operation Unthinkable. It's signed by him, but it was never put into practice.
Yeah. Oh my God, World War II,
Uh,
complicated. You know, when I was in school, when I was in the Californian public education school, we really only focus on the Nazis, but we never really like in history class. I was taught we learned about Lenin, we learned about Trotsky, we learned about Stalin, but it was not in a bad light. It was in
mm,
more like a oh, these are cool freedom fighters. Whereas in my English class, we learned about the Nazis and we were watching hours about the Holocaust. And I'm not saying don't forget the Holocaust, but I feel like in the California public education system, you are going to be indoctrinated. Like I'm beginning to see it. You know, like the schools are learning about weird LGBT. I don't even know anymore. Like the alphabet thing. You know, it's like it's not even school anymore. You know what I mean? It's like it becomes like a little cubicle for people to be indoctrinated, and it's like unfortunate. You know, and I think V, you did a video where the communists they infiltrated the universities. I don't know. I think you were talking about like Cambridge, where
no, yeah, oh yeah, 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 with the spies, yeah, the Big Five, I think they were called, and there were spies that infiltrated Cambridge University, and one of them was so drunk that he actually started talking about his infiltration. Yeah, it's on
you know,
BBC. They made
yeah,
an article about it.
yeah, like nobody is talking about the fucking Chinese spies for some odd reason in California. Like, how come is nobody's not saying anything? Like
Didn't they
they
talk
focus
about it?
on
Like there were a couple
a little bit.
arrested. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Only a little bit. That's it. It's out of the mainstream media right now. It's all about COVID, the fly on Mike Pence's head, and mansplaining Kamala Harris, and that's pretty much it. And we're
Yeah.
not getting information about the Chinese, the headquarters in Texas where they burn the documents and stuff like that. You don't hear that information, but yet we are so focused on Russia that they're not focusing on China. You know what I mean? And I feel like China is more like a threat to American
Yeah,
society
I
than
find it bizarre though. Like, well, I mean, I don't find it bizarre. You look where the money is. Like, if you were a
yeah,
CEO of a
that's true.
company, your duty would be with the stockholders and to make the money. And the best way to make the money would be to go and work in China. Right? And if your
Mhm.
company starts talking about negative things about the Communist Chinese Party, you're not allowed to do it. So they need to please the Chinese Party, which is why you have NBA talking about the problem with racism and how bad Islamophobia is and other shit, and then they do business with China. Um,
Uh,
it's
yeah.
like,
The
yeah,
Chinese are very racist against blacks, by the way.
yeah, no, the Chinese pay their racism tax, they pay their homophobia tax, and you know it's the same thing. If you look before World War II, America had very good relationships with Nazi Germany. I mean, American companies wanted the German market. If
Yeah.
you look at the airship that collapsed, which ended Zeppelins, it had the swastika on its back because it came from Germany.
Hmm.
Yeah, America
You got the
and
buggy.
Germany consider themselves to be allies, and they had very lucrative business opportunities. And a lot of companies were against the idea of a war between America and Nazi Germany.
Hmm. I am in. I think if you guys can Google goo it, I did the United States. They came in like really late. No, like they fought when the Pearl Harbor bombed. Um, yeah, they bombed Pearl Harbor. That was like December 7th, 1941, I
I
believe. And then after
mean,
that,
yeah, it's really interesting because the
oh, that's
Americans,
another stream. V, that's another stream.
yeah, the Americans pushed Japan in a corner. I'll just read one super chat and then we can end this.
Okay.
From Architect of Fate, California girl, this was present in CA school system over 10 years ago. Just looking at the revision of Vietnam in 2000, they referred to Viet Cong and NVA as freedom fighters trying to throw off capitalism.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep, the
Well,
VidCons
there
were
was
the
this meme saying it's like conservatives don't understand why they're losing the culture war, but they let their kids be indoctrinated by the enemy. And by the enemy, they mean communists, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you go to school and you do get indoctrinated by far leftists, and then you wonder, like, why you're losing the culture war. Um,
I get called VidCon too, and I'm not even fucking Vietnamese. I'm Cambodian.
Jesus. No, but it's so horrible. Like,
Yeah.
you look at the
Yeah.
ideology that spreads families apart, and you see children going to university and they're not wanting to talk to their racist dad because, it's like.
Dude, I lost so many friends to universities, man. It's ridiculous.
I love
I
it. It's
told
like I lost friends to universities. That sounds so good. Let's end it like that. Thank you for
okay.
being here. Really appreciate it. I'll put the link to your podcast in the description of this video. Pinned comment. You guys should check it out. She makes good content. And if you ever want to come back, I'd love to have you because you're a great co-host. And
All right, V.
yeah.
Don't
Thank you.
mansplain me.
Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later.